What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been comparing and contrasting the 2020 Detroit Lions roster to the previous Detroit Lions rosters to make the playoffs under Matthew Stafford. And in those videos, I said that if you wanted to see me compare the 2020 roster to any other NFL franchise in any other year, leave those suggestions in the comments below, and I can make that happen. That is still the case for this video and any other Who's Better, I guess, episodes or, just videos. If you want to see any other team compared to the 2020 roster, leave them in the comments below and I can make that happen. This is a fan suggestion, and they wanted to see me compare the 2020 Detroit Lions roster to the 2018 New England Patriots roster. And obviously this is a very good choice because we have a lot of ties to the Patriots as of recent years. With our head coach coming from Patriot descent, a lot of our players, a lot of our free agent acquisitions have been former Patriots, and we have a lot of Patriot ties, obviously. So I think it'll be interesting to see how our roster stacks up against the Super Bowl winning roster of 2018. Now, before we do get into it, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying the content, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. That helps push content out to other new people, helps bring new people into the channel, helps people find the channel, helps this channel grow. And it would mean a lot to me if you guys would take 2 seconds out of your day to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Now, with that being said, let's get into comparing this 2020 Detroit Lions roster to the Super Bowl winning 2018 New England Patriots roster. Now, the first thing we need to do when we're comparing is obviously, at least in my opinion, look at who the similar players are. So the Detroit Lions currently have 3 players on the roster that played for the 2018 New England Patriots team. And those 3 players are Duron Harmon, Danny Shelton, and the great Trey Flowers. Now, this 2018 Pats team won Super Bowl 53 13-3 over the Los Angeles Rams, and their regular season record was 11-5. Now, as an offense, they put up 6,295 total yards, which ranked 5th in the NFL. They threw for 4,258 passing yards, which was 8th, 29 touchdowns, which was 12th, and 11 interceptions, which was 10th. They also rushed for 2,037 yards as a team, which ranked 5th, and 18 touchdowns, which ranked 4th. So, obviously, they were more efficient as a running team, but they were still a very good passing team. As a total offense, they did not rank lower than 12th in any category, which is above average at everything. And they were pretty elite at running the football, obviously 5th in rushing yards and 4th in rushing touchdowns. That is a very good running team, and it showed during the playoffs, which we will get to in a couple minutes. As of defense, they gave up 5,746 total yards, which ranked 21st. They gave up 3,947 passing yards, which was 22nd. They gave up 29 passing touchdowns, which ranked 20th, but they did have 18 interceptions, which was the 3rd most in the NFL. On the ground, they gave up 1,803 rushing yards, which ranked 11th, and they only gave up 7 touchdowns, which ranked 2nd. So as far as yards allowed, they really weren't that good, obviously giving up the 21st most in the NFL, 22nd in the air, and 11th on the ground. Not great. Giving up 29 pass touchdowns isn't great, but they did take the ball away, and they did limit touchdowns on the ground, which I think was a big help to them. And obviously, if you could take the football away, you're denying your opponent a chance to score and putting your offense back on the field, giving them a chance to score. So if you get a lot of turnovers, you get a lot of takeaways, it's going to help you, and you're going to be a very good football team. And ranking 3rd in interceptions was obviously a big help. Now, looking at the pass rush, they only had 30 sacks in 2018, which ranked 30th in the NFL. They had 154 quarterback pressures, which did rank 16th, which is still below average. And they blitzed 30.9% of the time, which was the 8th most in the NFL. So I know the New England Patriots have this persona that they are a good defensive team. They get a lot of pressure. They blitz all the time. They get a ton of sacks, a ton of interceptions, a ton of turnovers. But in 2018, they really didn't get that much pressure. They really didn't, get that much. They didn't really have that great production on the defensive line, like I think a lot of people believe they do every single year. Now, obviously, this was still a good defense, good enough to put them at 11-5, good enough to get 18 interceptions, which ranked 3rd in the NFL. Obviously, blitzing 30% of the time, 8th most in the NFL, and only getting 30 sacks, which was 30th in the NFL, is not a good thing. And really, the defense wasn't really the strong suit of this team, in my opinion, just looking at the numbers. The defense wasn't the strength of this team. I think it was more the running game and just the offense being able to keep the offense on the field, sustaining longer drives. And the defense was good enough, but I really don't think the defense was the strength of this team. Looking at their playoff run, in the divisional round, they won 41-28 against the Los Angeles Chargers. In that game, they rushed for 34. They had 34 rushing attempts for 155 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is incredible and absolutely insane number as far as, postseason rushing yards and touchdowns. Well, in the conference championships against the Kansas City Chiefs and the reigning MVP in Patrick Mahomes, they won up themselves. They rushed 48 times for 176 yards and 4 more touchdowns. And then in the Super Bowl, a slugfest, defensive, run the ball, defensive game, didn't score a lot of points. They still rushed 32 times for 154 yards and a touchdown. They had 9 rushing touchdowns in their 3 postseason games. That was better than the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, and the San Francisco 49ers had in an entire season. Each of those teams only had 7 regular season touchdowns. The Patriots had 9 postseason touchdowns. Those 9 postseason touchdowns were tied with Arizona, Oakland, and Minnesota's regular season touchdown total on the ground. Each of those teams also had 9 touchdowns throughout 16 games in the regular season. The Patriots did it in 3 against the top competition the AFC has to offer. That is insane. They had an insane rushing attack this year, obviously ranking top 5 in every rushing category, and in the playoffs they had one of the best rushing performances ever in the playoffs. Comparing their roster to the Detroit Lions 2020 roster, as far as quarterbacking, I will give it to the New England Patriots. Obviously, Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's won 6 Super Bowls, more than any other player in NFL history. And while I do think at this point in their career, Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback, I think he is more athletically gifted. I think he is a more talented quarterback. I think Tom Brady reads the field better. I think he's a better decision maker, and I think he is a better leader than Matthew Stafford. While Matthew Stafford, I believe, is the better athlete. I think he can throw the ball farther, has a better arm, has better accuracy, is a better athlete all around. I think that Tom Brady reads the field a little bit better than Stafford. I think that he is just a smarter player because, one, he's been in the NFL longer than Stafford. He's older, he's wiser, he's really been in a system that helps him out to win Super Bowls. And that's not a knock against Tom Brady. I still think he's a good quarterback. And that's not a knock against Matthew Stafford. I'm not saying that he's stupid and can't read the field. He's a very smart quarterback, very intelligent, a very good quarterback. When it comes to reading the field, I just think Tom Brady is better at it because he had to be. He wasn't as athletically gifted as Matthew Stafford. He can't throw it 80 yards in the air. He's not really known for escaping, which Matthew Stafford has shown that he can do. He's just not as athletically gifted, which is why Tom Brady had to be a smarter, more decisive quarterback and had to make better decisions, because if he didn't make good decisions, he didn't have the athletic ability to make up for it. Moving on to the running back room, I will also give this to the New England Patriots. Now, in the 2018 season, the New England Patriots were running behind rookie running back Sony Michel, and while only playing in 13 games, Michel had 931 yards and 6 touchdowns. And following up that, James White played in 16 games, had 425 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. I think this could be very similar to what we see out of Kerryon and DeAndre Swift, a 900-yard rusher and a 500-yard rusher. I don't think that's ridiculous to think I don't think it's ridiculous to think that could happen with the talent we have with DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson in that backfield. I think we could see very similar numbers to this out of the Detroit Lions rushing attack in 2020. However, I did give this to the New England Patriots because Sony Michel, only playing in 13 games, having 900 yards, he was well on pace for over 1,000. James White is also a little bit better of a receiving threat than what the Detroit Lions have. Obviously, we haven't seen DeAndre Swift, so once we see DeAndre and how good he can receive and how good of a receiving back he is, we can make a better, you can make a more accurate comparison between the two. But on paper, I actually give the running back room to the New England Patriots, but I think it's very close, and I think that the numbers in the 2020 season are going to be very similar to what we saw out of the New England Patriots in 2018. Now, the wide receiver room, I gave 100% to the Detroit Lions. The Pats' leading receiver in 2018 was Julian Edelman, who had 850 yards. Kenny Galladay had over 1,111 touchdowns. Marvin Jones was on pace for just under 1,000 yards. Danny Amendola even had 600 yards. Marvin Hall had 30-something yards a carry. I mean, the wide receiver depth and the talent on this roster is fantastic. It's one of the best in the NFL, and they're really going to beat out a majority of teams we compare them to just because the talent and the depth on this team is pretty good and better than a lot of teams that have ever had. So I give that to the Detroit Lions. Now, moving on to the tight end, Obviously, the Patriots had Rob Gronkowski, who arguably made the biggest play in the Super Bowl, the big catch that put them down at the one that allowed Sony Michel to score basically the game-winning touchdown for the New England Patriots and put the game out of reach for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I did give the tight end group to the New England Patriots. While I think TJ Hawkinson is going to have a huge bounce back season, I think Bevel will get the tight ends more involved. I think that the tight ends will have better production next year. I mean, it's hard to beat out Gronkowski in a tight end competition, even if he didn't have his best year. What we've seen out of TJ Hawkinson and the rest of our tight end room is nowhere near what we've seen Gronkowski put together. And even in kind of a down year, only having 682 yards and 3 touchdowns, I still think that is better than what our tight ends put up last year. And until we see the Detroit Lions tight ends put up good numbers like that, I have to give it to Rob Gronkowski and the New England Patriots. Now, looking at the O-line, the New England Patriots offensive line that year only gave up 21 sacks in 19 games. So that was really, really good for them. I mean, that line was very good, protected Brady very well. And I know Brady's very good at pocket awareness and moving around, but he's not the most athletic. He's not the best guy at, he's not the most mobile quarterback. So protecting pretty much a statue is not the easiest thing to do all the time. And only giving up 21 sacks is a very good season for them. Now, this O-line has to go to the New England Patriots. The Detroit Lions gave up over 40 sacks last year. They have 3 really big question marks on the offensive line. There's a lot of question marks there, so I had to give it to the New England Patriots roster. Even if we knew who the Detroit Lions were going to start at each position, I'd still probably give it to the New England Patriots because they did a very good job protecting Brady. Now, the front 7, they're very similar because we have Danny Shelton, we have Trey Flowers, who are both on the Patriots that year. However, we've also added Nick Williams, who had 6 sacks last year. We also added Julian Okwara, who's a promising rookie. We also had Romeo Okwara, who has shown that he can get 7 to 8 sacks a season with a good defensive line around him. We have put guys on the field to pair with these New England pass rushers that have proven they can get to the quarterback, they can put pressure on, and I think that the front 7 will be better than that. I think our front 7 in 2020 is going to be better than what the New England Patriots put out there in 2018. As I said, they only had 30 sacks, but they blitzed 30% of the time. The Detroit Lions blitzed like 16 or something off the top of my head, I want to say. It's very low. It's like bottom 3 in the league, and they still had 28 sacks without Danny Shelton, without Nick Williams, without Julian Okwara. And really, I think that this pass rush is going to be much better next year, and I think that they're going to definitely have more than 30 sacks, and I don't even think they're going to have to blitz as much as the Patriots did in 2018. And then the secondary, I will give it to the Pats. They had 18 interceptions that year, 3rd in the NFL. They forced takeaways. They had 67 passes defended. I mean, this was a very good secondary. Duron Harmon actually led this secondary in interceptions with 4. Hopefully he can do that with the Lions this season. But with all the uncertainty in the secondary, all the new faces, including Duron Harmon and Desmond Trufant and Jeffrey Okudah and Darrell Roberts and all these new faces, we don't know how the secondary is going to play. On paper, it looks as though it should be an elite secondary. It looks like it should be a no-fly zone or, an elite secondary. We don't know because we haven't actually seen them on the field yet, so I have to give it to the experience, the guys that show that they could take the ball away in the New England Patriots. I think it was kind of obvious comparing these two teams. The New England Patriots were the better team. Obviously, they made it to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, which is something the Detroit Lions have never done. And while I have confidence in this 2020 roster, I don't know if they're Super Bowl ready yet. I think they're ready to make the playoffs. I think they can make some noise in the NFC, but I don't know if they're quite at the Patriots level. I don't think they're going to have a top 5 rushing attack. I think that they will have very similar passing stats, but I don't know if they'll have a top 5 rushing attack next year. I don't know if they can put together games like the Patriots did in 2018, having over 150 yards in every single playoff game. I just don't know how realistic that would be to expect out of our Detroit Lions. It could definitely happen. Obviously, there's always teams that over exceed expectations and really surprise people. However, until I see it out of the Detroit Lions, I'm gonna have to give it to the team that won the Super Bowl, who's done it several times. Has one of the best coaches of all time coaching that roster in the New England Patriots. I think they are the better team. When comparing these two teams, I think that the New England Patriots of 2018 are better than the 2019 20 Detroit Lions. Now, with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know if you disagree, if you think the Detroit Lions have a better roster than 2018 New England Patriots. Also, if you want to see me compare the 2020 Lions to any other NFL franchise from any other year, put that in the comments below and I can definitely make that happen. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If there is more Lions news before tomorrow, I will obviously make a video making everybody know. The only real thing today is that facilities are starting to open back up and they're starting to allow coaches back in, but that's not really big news. No players are really back yet or anything like that. So that's the only thing the Lions really got going on as far as news right now. However, if there is an actual like real Lions news before tomorrow, I will obviously make its own video letting everybody know. But until then, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Again, if you would be so kind to take those 2 seconds out of your day to like the video, subscribe to the channel, it helps push that out to new people, helps bring new people into the channel, and helps me grow my channel. And I would be very appreciative to everybody that does so. But with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching the video. I will see all of you tomorrow with another Detroit Lions video. And thank you all so very much for watching. Bye, guys.